Hey, welcome back to Watch Later with Leo Vader, an essay series about the overlooked nuggets in gaming that I can't stop thinking about. The Last of Us 1 launched with a really underrated stealthy multiplayer I absolutely loved, as well as a weak, tacked-on story mode. The Last of Us Part 2, on the other hand, launched without multiplayer with a statement that it's coming someday as a standalone thing. And that is virtually all we know about The Last of Us Part 2 multiplayer at this point. But walk with me as I imagine some things about it. Here's some things I loved from the first one that they should definitely keep. The crafting system is obviously staying. It worked great in multiplayer because of really smart rubber banding. The game would have supply boxes give the losing team more materials to craft with and the winning team far fewer materials. So if the losing team was careful and got to a few boxes, they'd have a good chance of building a defense and getting a comeback going. I really appreciate when multiplayers go for rubber banding like this, despite trendsetters like Call of Duty going for the opposite, glue banding. The loadouts were super cool, spending points to improve your listen mode or add the ability to heal at the cost of not being able to bring one of the higher grade weapons. I'm sure that'll be back in some form. In my prime playing this game, almost every weapon was a semi-auto, and I love that because you really had to place your shots and count the hits. There was a learning curve to feeling out how many shots you needed with each weapon to finish someone. I think that kind of gunplay still works the best with The Last of Us' signature damn the edible is kicking in aim wobble technology. The parts economy was interesting, upgrading weapons and buying ammo if you're desperate. Purchasable weapons were annoying but kind of fair, I guess, even though it never felt like it. Maybe those weapons should be found in pieces and boxes over the course of the match, so they could be paced to come out later and can be prevented by watching the boxes, and maybe even they're loud when crafting it so you know when one's about to come out, or you just remove them, really, I wouldn't mind. Here are some things they should definitely not keep from the first one. No more DLC map packs, obviously. They're a relic of the era the first one dropped in and only served to divide the player base in a clunky way. No more paid weapons either. You had to buy them with real money and then earn them with parts in a match and purchase them, and then you could one-shot snipe someone, and it sucks. I'll live if they decide to keep the game-breaking weapons in there, just don't make them a pay-to-win thing. Or at least enforce a 6-month waiting period. The metagame in general was fun, picking gameplay challenges to complete for little narrative moments as you grew the numbers of your faction. But I think instead of the rigid 12-week structure with each match representing a day, it might make more sense for them to do a seasonal approach, where it resets for everyone every real-world month and pays out permanent rewards for how well you did. I think the metagame in general, making you worried about supplies for your camp mid-match, was super unique and should be fleshed out. The original Last of Us even had Facebook integration where it would pull in real names from your friends list to populate your faction and pop up every now and then that one of them had died of infection. For some reason, that idea doesn't sound very fun to me anymore. As far as new stuff they should add, I'd like the metagame this time, instead of being that little petri dish, to be represented with an actual hub world. You could walk around and upgrade it, see the people you're trying to protect, and meet up with your party to head out to search for a match. Think PlayStation Home, or any of the other examples I could have picked instead. The addition of zombies could be cool, an occasional third faction that players have to decide how to deal with. And yeah, I know they're not zombies, they're Cordies or Mushmen or whatever, but the word zombies is just shorthand for bad guys that walk weird and can't hold guns. Next, you know what I'm gonna say, bring in the Gangnam Style dance, Naughty Dog. I know you have it. I know you got the next-gen rigging set up from Uncharted 4. Psy's smash hit Gangnam Style rose to prominence in the fall of 2012, less than a year before the cordyceps outbreak in 2013. I find it very believable that those alive during the outbreak would pass this down to their kids as a cultural touchstone, performing acoustic guitar renditions of Gangnam Style by the campfire while the kids all do the funny dance. I'd also like to see bigger maps in general, and with more varied spawns. So many fights would happen in the same 3 areas on each map. I'd like more incentive to use all those different parts of the level. The first game was great at using familiar environments from the campaign, but completely reworking them into a balanced multiplayer map. Here's some maps I'd like to see in the second one. Obviously, there's some light spoilers here. The aquarium would be a distinct, gorgeous color palette for a multiplayer map. It'd be fun to revisit a lot of the locations where there wasn't much fighting in the campaign, like the museum. I wasn't wishing there was combat at that moment in the story, but it's a pretty area, and it would be great for the kids playing multiplayer to maybe learn a little bit about history while they're teabagging me in front of my girlfriend. Speaking of kids, that stalker-filled elementary school could be a cool, creepy place for stealthy gameplay, especially if they bring in stalkers as an occasional map event like the snow and dust storms of the first one. The top of the skyscrapers could be scaled down a little bit into something cool, keeping that terrifying bridge as a lane for defending in an objective-based mode like interrogation. Lastly, the hotel could have some cool verticality, and the juxtaposition of the tight connected rooms with the wide blown-out hallways could be interesting. These are just some of the things that are getting me hot and bothered imagining The Last of Us Part 2's multiplayer component. What gets you hot and bothered? Leave it in the comments below, and most likely you'll get banned. Thanks for watching. For more Last of Us Part 2, check out our Deepest Dive on it, a super in-depth conversation breaking down the whole game. And I'll be joining our upcoming Deepest Dive on Cyberpunk 2077, kicking off with Act 1 on December 16th. So find that here on a YouTube channel or support us on Patreon to contribute to the discussion and get access to the exclusive podcast feed to listen to it on the go. Thanks for watching. Also, put it on PC, cowards.